ただいまより林外務大臣の定例会見を始めます。
We'll now begin the regular press conference by Foreign Minister Hayashi.
Yes. I would like to make 2 points at the very outset. First point, from September the 3rd until 10th, I will be visiting Jordan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Poland. My first visiting country in Jordan, I will have an audience with His Majesty the King Abdullah II and also meet with influential people. And together with DPM and Foreign Minister Safadi, we are going to have a fourth Foreign Minister Strategic Dialogue meeting. We'll discuss the cooperation going forward and toward regional stabilization. Confirmation will be made about our cooperation. In Egypt, I will pay courtesy call to President El-Sisi, have a meeting with the Foreign Minister Shukri, and make a confirmation to deepen further the bilateral relationship in wide-ranging areas under strategic partnership, whose upgrading was decided when Prime Minister Kishida visited the country in April this year. And also, third Japan-Arab political dialogue meeting will be held with regard to the Japan-Arab cooperation with the members of Arab League. Vibrant discussion is planned to be held. Also, very first Japan-Egypt-Jordan trilateral ministerial consultation will be held, to which I will attend. And with regard to the trilateral cooperation going forward in Middle East, we will have exchange of views with foreign ministers. In Saudi Arabia, the very first meeting on the foreign minister level strategic meeting will take place between Japan and Saudi Arabia, which was agreed to be held at the time of Prime Minister Kishida's visit to the country in July. I will have this meeting for the very first time with Foreign Minister Faisal, and also Japan GCC foreign ministers level meeting will be held as well. With our strategic partner, we are going to strengthen cooperation in wide areas, including politics, economy, and culture. In Poland, I will pay a courtesy call to President Duda and make a follow-up of July Prime Minister Kishida's visit to Poland. And with Foreign Minister Rao, we are going to have Japan-Poland bilateral foreign ministers meeting, and with Mr. Emilevich, a government representative who is in charge of Poland-Ukraine Development Cooperation. We have a meeting, and ever since the Russia's aggression began, Poland has been serving as a hub of Ukraine assistance, and their importance is growing in the international community in terms of strategy and geopolitics, and we are going to strengthen bilateral relationship with that country, Poland. Second point, ever since last year, DPRK, with unprecedented frequency and in a new manner, ballistic missile launch have been repeated. A series of provocative activities have been continuing. Under these circumstances, August 24th, with the objective of launching a satellite, unilaterally they forced to have a launch using the ballistic missile technology. And on the 30th, 2 ballistic missiles have been fired. It poses a grave and imminent threat to the security of Japan and threatens the peace and safety and security of the entire international community as well as of our region. It is totally unacceptable. In tandem with the United States and ROK at the ministerial meeting held today, we have made a decision to apply additional sanctions against DPRK for the comprehensive resolution of pending issues like abduction, nuclear, and missile. So we have decided to add 3 organizations, 4 individuals for asset freeze under the foreign exchange law, anew, for having been engaged in nuclear and missile development, which is prohibited in the UN Security Council resolution related to DPRK. So there are pending issues of abduction, nuclear, and missile with the DPRK, and we ask the DPRK to come up with concrete activities for the solution of the issue. We would closely work between Japan, US, JapanArab, and trilaterally, and in cooperation with the international community, we will aim at the denuclearization of the North Korea. Thank you.
Please raise your hand to ask a question. Fujita-san from Nikkei Shimbun. I am Fujita from Nikkei. So, as was mentioned, you are to visit Middle East the latest BRICS meeting, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and 4 other countries will decide to join BRICS going forward. And you'll be visiting those 2 countries of Egypt and Saudi Arabia during this visit, and with the UN General Assembly occasion. Through those occasions, those 2 countries are the countries China is also strengthening the relationship. How would you strengthen the relationship with those countries?
Well, the other day, BRICS leaders meeting was held, and 6 countries, inclusive of Egypt and Saudi Arabia, have been decided to be invited as a member. That was the announcement made. As for the movement in the 3rd country, I would refrain from making comment on it, but I will be visiting Egypt and Saudi Arabia this time, and either of the country are playing a important roles in the region as well as in the international community. Russia's aggression against Ukraine is shaking the foundation of the international order. And just the other day, Prime Minister Kishida made a visit to these countries and discussed the importance of maintaining and strengthening international order based on the free and the international rule of law, and confirm the cooperation. So when I visit these countries as well, I will try to advance our bilateral cooperations, and also with regard to international situation, including Russia's aggression against Ukraine, I would like to have a frank exchange of views and confirm on the further partnership.
山瀬さんどうぞ。
Yamase from Chugoku Shimbun. Thank you very much. I'm Yamase from Chugoku Shimbun. So from the 5th, he'll be visiting India and other countries, and he'll be visiting the G20 and other meetings. And the other day, Prime Minister Kishida said at the LDP executive meetings that he'll leverage the outcomes of G7 Hiroshima Summit at G20 Summit. At G7 Hiroshima Summit, the Hiroshima Vision was issued, and also there were the nuclear weapons and peace and Russian aggression against Ukraine were discussed. And from that perspective, what do you think at the ASEAN and G20 meeting, what should be the message from Japan, and what should be the roles be played by Japan?
Well, thank you for the question. There is a deepening of the divide within the international community over nuclear disarmament, and also threat is being posed by Russia's nuclear weapon use. So journey toward making the world without a nuclear weapon is becoming much more harsh. But because of that, we will try hard to realize the world without a nuclear weapon. For that, practical and realistic efforts will steadily be made. There is a need for it. Prime Minister Kishida will be attending a ASEAN-related leaders meeting as well as G20 New Delhi summit. And of course, I cannot preview what the discussion will be, but as Russia's aggression against Ukraine continues, and Russia's intimidation of nuclear is something totally unacceptable, and it should never be used. And this is the point that is continued to be appealed.
NHK 五十嵐さんどうぞ。
Igarashi-san from NHK. I'm Igarashi from NHK. With regards to the outpost treated water, I'd like to ask a question. So after this beginning of the discharge of the treated water, China completely banned the import from Japan, the seafood import. And within the LDP, there was a argument seeking the filing WTO complaint as an option. And there is such opinions amongst the government as well. And I'd like to ask for your view and response from the government.
Thank you for the question. Well, in addition to the current import restrictive measures taken by China, it's very regrettable that they have introduced new measures which is not founded on the scientific evidences. Vis-a-vis China, we had made strong representations asking for the immediate withdrawal. Based on that, we would strongly ask for them to take part in the science-based discussion. So far, at the WTO, inclusive of the regulations that are coming from China, we had to strongly ask for the withdrawal early of the regulations. For example, there is a WTO sanitation and the plant quarantine committee where such a request for early withdrawal has been made with regard to other framework related to WTO, we would think about what would be the most effective way to do it and make a choice.
さんどうぞ。
Miyamoto-san from TBS. Thank you very much. I am Miyamoto from TBS. My question is a related question. So outside of WTO, I believe that there is a consideration about the other approach. And in order to change the actions and the behavior by China, what do you think would be the effective approach? And also, this month, there will be many important diplomatic events. And do you have an idea to seek the high-level dialogue with China?
As the government has been saying, in addition to the current import restrictive measures taken by China, it's very regrettable that they had also introduced temporary import suspension measures fully of the Japan marine products, as I said it before. So in July, I met with Director Wang Yi, and directly I strongly made my representation to him. Because Japanese food safety is being proven by science. Inclusive of the measures this time going forward, we will take every opportunity out there and ask for the immediate withdrawal of import restrictive measures, which is not founded on the scientific evidences. As for the dialogue of a high-level representative from the Chinese side, there has been nothing which have been decided on this accord, but at any rate, mutual efforts are being made toward Japan-China relationship building, which is constructive and stable. We seek China to be cool-headed and constructive in their responses.
森さん。
Next question from Nippon TV. I am Mori from Nippon TV. Yesterday, Minister Nomura at the Prime Minister's office to the press said that he mentioned the word contaminated water about overtreated water. Japanese government is now trying to ask the understanding of the people. What is the response?
Yesterday, MAF Minister Nomura responded to the question asked by the reporter and misspoke about the treated water. And last night, Minister Nomura fully came up with an apology on this and taking back his remarks. On top of it, with a new sense of tension, he said that he will make every effort to implement responses that will be with marine product operators. So I will say nothing more than that. Thank you.
Arai-san from Hokkaido Shimbun. I'm Araya from Hokkaido Shimbun. I have a question with regards to Russia. So the day of victory over militaristic Japan and the end of World War II will be the 3rd of September. So Russia changed the law and using this name for the day. And on the 3rd, there will be a celebratory events being planned at the Northern Territories. And also, there was a lighting of lighthouse on the island at the Habomai Islands. It seems that they are demonstrating their effective control. What is your view about Russia and what's the response?
In June this year, Russia made changes in the naming. Day of Military Glory to the victory against militaristic Japan and the completion of World War II on the September the 3rd. A series of events are being planned for the Northern Territory and the various places in Russia. I would not make a comment as a representative of government on these events. But with regard to the renaming of the September 3rd, the day of military glory vis-a-vis Russia, we had made representations to them and hope that no emotional confrontation will be aggravated and to come up with appropriate responses. As for the lighthouse-related movement over Kaigara Island, Japanese government made a confirmation about that. The flag, which looks as a national flag of Russia, has been flying, and on the August 2nd and 25th, we said that in view of Japan's position on the Northern Territory, we said we can never accept this through the diplomatic route. As for the Russia's movement over 4 islands of Northern Ireland, the government will continue to monitor the situation and respond appropriately.
Ueda-san from Kyoto. I'm Ueda from Kyoto. I have a question with regards to Japan-China relationship. A Japanese man in his 50s who was arrested in Shanghai last year in June, he was indicted mid this month. What is the reaction of the government?
Yes, in December 2021 in city of Shanghai, because there was a alleged violation of domestic law of China, the person was detained and in June last year arrested. So the person you are talking about is the Japanese male in 50s, and we had confirmed that during the middle part of August, the indictment was made. From protecting the Japanese personnel, we have provided assistances for the interview with the Consulate General and the communication with the family, and we will continue to deal with that appropriately. Vis-a-vis China, through different levels and the opportunities, we are strongly calling for the immediate withdrawal of that person, release of that person, and the assurance of transparency in the judicial processes.
This concludes the press conference. Thank you.